This is H4G Gaiden Podcast Live.
Oh, I don't know that I have that energy.
I'm the one who's horribly hungover. You should have at least some energy. But anyways, so my name is Tony. This is
Richie.
And we have Roocrow. Roocrow is a part of H4G, has been for a year and a half or so. She has been doing a lot of the editing in our videos. So generally what happens is she does a cut of it, sends it to me, I do a cut, and then we release. So she's been very helpful. She's been saving my marriage because I get to spend time with my family. You know, basically, she...
I don't have a family.
If she were to leave, if she were to leave H4G, it would be like Divorce City. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like Divorce City.
Tony just shackled me to the computer even harder.
Making her feel guilty about it.
I mean, I live at home, so where the hell does Tony end up in that situation?
I'm gonna move in with you.
You would have to move in. Oh, I mean, your parents have already probably like blown up your room in some sick experiment.
It's a storage space right now for sure. But anyways, hashtag Team Richie.
John also lives at home. What's TJ up to? Could you move in with TJ?
I don't think I want to move to the Bay Area, although I'd like to, but no. You know, Shelby / Roocrow also is on Twitch. Do you want to tell them a little bit about your Twitch channel? I have a link to it in the description in case anyone wants to check it out.
Oh my! My daytime job has been kicking my butata. So I haven't been streaming very often, but when I do stream, which might be kicking up a little more in the future, I do art typically on Wednesdays, and then we've been actually about to finish Night in the Woods on Thursday, which has been quite an interesting game so far. If you've never played it,
My brother speaks very highly of it.
it's there's like a lot of rave reviews, and I just feel very meh about it because like
Really?
it's trying really hard to like send a message, but on the same hand it doesn't know what it wants to be, like what kind of game it wants to be. Is it puzzles? Is it platforming?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
like I
always
feel like
frustrating.
some of the plot points are kind of all over the place, but
Yeah.
you know, it's good. It's been all right. It's been pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I also find, and I feel like probably I'm probably the only person who feels this way, but generally when I stream a game or if like I'm playing it live, even if it's a great game, I enjoy it a little bit less just because I'm invested in entertaining my audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've never
Like-
done it, so I can't really say for certain.
So like a 10 out of 10 game becomes like an 8 for me. You know, in
Yeah,
terms of the
I feel that.
experience. And I'll recognize that when I'm doing it, and if I'm reviewing it or something, I'll bump it back up. But in terms of my fun factor, it generally goes
Right.
down because I'm trying to entertain everybody, and
Right.
you know,
I can see that, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think I would have to do it before I could really say how I would react.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Some people, I mean, they do streaming for a living and they love
I
it.
do like this idea of reviewing Louis, though.
Yeah, that's a good. I actually saw that one. That is a good idea. Kudos to you. All right, you guys ready to go to the next topic here?
Let's do it.
Okay, so this one's a combination. We had actually had planned to talk about the PS1 Classic, and the lineup was announced. This is a little bit of old news now, but we figured we'd touch on it anyways. But simultaneously, we got a Patreon question. I'll shoot for a big one, considering the new lineup of games for the PS1 Classic. Is it really worth the $100? Keep in mind that the like Nintendo Classic systems were like, I think like $79.99, right? So they're about $20 less than this. Considering the emulator is open source, the games aren't too terribly good. Non-analog stick controllers. Basically, considering all of those things, is it worth it? So first off, let's talk about the games. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. I have the PS1 lineup here. And of course, we want to know what you guys think about this in the chat as well here. So, PS1 Classic, this is the website. They're Classic, very Michigan. Talk about the preloaded games.
Classic.
They're talking about their big guns up here. 7, the ones they announced initially.
Right.
Twisted Metal, should have done Twisted Metal 2. Metal Gear Solid, Tekken, you know, all that stuff. And then you have Battle Arena, Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, already mentioned these, Jumping Flash, Intelligent Cube, Grand Theft Auto forms as well. Like for the example, the SNES Classic, I think everything except for like the Street Fighter and maybe one or two games were like unique that. Resident Evil Director's Cut, Siphon Filter, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. That's an interesting one. They have basically it's like Tetris, but they have like chibi characters, and it's there's a fighting game, but it's a puzzle game. Revelations Persona, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, Wild Arms, Ridge Racer, etc. So taking a look at this, what do we think about the lineup?
I'm not super impressed outside of like the top 6 that they had already announced. It's mostly a list of what? I mean, there was Wild Arms in there. That's kind of a nice
I know
old school
Wild Arms
RPG.
is kind of rare.
Yeah, and same thing with Revelations Persona. It's kind of hard to get your hands on. But, again, like he says, emulator is open source. But if you want to do it the legal way,
Right.
I still don't know that it's a great value. Other than those couple of really rare titles.
Yeah, I think that the... well, Shelby, I'll let you say your piece here.
Oh, I'm like I feel like this list is distinctively lacking of one of the best games on PS anything, which was Tony Hawk. Anything. Where's
He was a
our Tony
professional
Hawk Pro
skater.
Skater?
He was a professional skater.
That's fine.
I said he was a
Fine
professional
question.
skater, Tony Hawk.
Well, right.
He was
but,
he was a
you
Tony
know.
Hawk Pro Skater. Like, I don't know.
But also, why Final Fantasy VII? Like, why does it gotta be 7? Why couldn't it have been any of the other Final Fantasies that were on PS1?
Money.
Yeah, well... I mean, on the one hand...
I if it were me, I would have put them all on there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, 7 is the moneymaker for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think 7's the moneymaker.
I guess.
8 is like the one that, in retrospect, no one likes. And then... But it still has its fans. And then...
The one you love to hate.
And then 9... was like the black sheep. People were confused at the time that it came out because it was like more cutesy, but then it was considered to be like better than all of them.
It's so goddamn good.
I haven't played it, but it's on the list. So I think money. Yeah, exactly. But like when we were talking about different options in a previous H4G Games Gaiden, and we were talking about stuff that sort of defined the PlayStation, like Spyro or Crash. Now, granted, you do have recent and to-be remakes of those.
I wonder how much of it is just Square Enix being dicks, too. Because I feel like they might be saying, like, yeah, okay, fine, take Final Fantasy VII, we're working on the remake, people are going to buy that, we don't really worry about losing any more sales on our PC ports or anything like that, but I really don't know. But Square Enix is always... up to some sort of BS.
That might have been the reason why. I can't remember the developer behind Crash and Spyro.
Naughty Dog?
I don't know. Did Spyro? I don't know who did that. But it could have been one of those things, too, where the developers were like, well, hang on. With Crash, it's like, all right, we just released the remaster. And Spyro remaster's coming out. So they were like, might have been like, we don't want this to take away. But the PS1 Classic is a novelty product. It wouldn't have really taken away from those sales. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... I mean, I could maybe see that, but it just seems like there's stuff missing from this.
Well, the bad thing is that, like, the PS1 and PS2 had really, really extensive libraries.
Yes.
So, like, to pull 20 out of, like, 1,000 titles is just, like... Everyone... there's never gonna be enough.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the list was, like, cool borders... 2? Is that something that's really a draw to people? Battle Arena Toshinden? Do you need that and Tekken?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I need it. But, no, I don't. But, yeah.
If you wanted to hit all of the Final Fantasy at the same time and also hit that, like, ooh, that's kind of a rare game, what's that game called? Guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, put that on the classic. 100% would have been better in any of the Final Fantasy.
Wasn't that called Guys, God Bless the Ring? Wasn't that the full title?
I don't know.
I think it was.
You can always count on Square Enix for some stupid ass subtitles.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know how to spell it.
EH, I think.
Yeah, it was called Guys,
Yeah,
God Bless the Ring.
Right, like
Apparently
the fighting
really dungeon
ring.
crawler in it.
Yeah, it did have a dungeon crawler in it. Yeah, it was not good, but I remember playing it as a young man. But in case anyone's wondering, Air Guys was a 3D battle fighter game that had Cloud and like Sephiroth and that lion character, Red XYZ potato. Yeah. And like it was funky, but
Sephiroth is in it too.
Sephiroth is in it as well. Yeah, but it's totally unbalanced.
Yeah, where the hell is Ape Escape?
Yeah, I think here's the thing is that PlayStation Classic is like, hey, we're PlayStation, we're gonna, but we're gonna charge $20 more than Nintendo. They should have given us $20 more worth of games. You know what I mean? They should have had. Sorry, go on.
Anybody out there can go. Well, you just basically get a Raspberry Pi and emulate it. Like you'll get way more games.
Yeah, I think that they should have done like 30 or 40 games, because then it would have been a really like a contender, and it also would have challenged Nintendo, although Nintendo wouldn't have cared, to up the number of games in their library as well for the classics. So I think 20. With the SNES Classic, those 20 games were like, okay, yeah, there's stuff that's, quote, missing, but every game is a masterpiece, practically. If not, it's an amazing game.
Right.
Right? Where this is like, great, good, okay, good, great. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of like, it brings up like a kind of a really, with the SNES Classic, you never really questioned. You're like, oh, I wish this was there, but you were never like, why the hell is Secret of Mana here? Well, Secret of Mana is an amazing game.
Secret of Mana, really? You're like, oh, I've never got to play that game. I better get this because I need it.
Yeah,
and we never really talked about it yet so far, but I do think that omitting the DualShock is a big minus.
I don't know. I think were those games that they showcased, because a lot of them were like, Twisted Metal 1. Like they might have been open before the DualShock was a thing.
Maybe that's even why they picked some of those games, which would be an even further disappointment to me. Because if the only reason they're picking these games is because they're compatible with no analog stick, that makes a lot more sense about why there are some questionable
Probably, because they're like, we need to... I can't remember when the DualShock came out, but they're like, probably like, okay, we need to pick games that were exclusively in the first third of the PS1's existence. Basically, you know what I mean? So, it's kind of an odd...
The thing is, though, most of the games on the PS that required analog, you probably could just, like, map it onto the control pad and be okay. It's not precision 3D.
No, yeah, I don't know. Anything else that we want to say about this particular topic?
The real question I'm gonna really want to know is that if this sells, and I don't think it will there be a PS2 Classic, and what will be on?
I would love to see that, because I feel like the PS2, PS3 are the spot where my emulation is just so weak. Yeah. And I have some titles from that era that I really want to revisit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, given the state of the PS Classic, I don't know that those games will even be on there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean,
they'll release the PS2 Classic and all you'll get.
PlayStation Thin.
Yeah. It'll just be like, you just can't play games on it. Yeah. Nice.
You just get to listen to the peaceful music.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Here's your sound box that plays PS2 music, and like you just fall asleep to it every night. Your ambient sound.
Love it. That's good stuff. That's great marketing.
I'm gonna have to send an email to Sony and see if we can get some of this fat money.
I got you an idea. It's $1 million idea. Make you millions. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. So, again...
They could call it Relax Station.
Do you want to move on to the next topic or not, Richie?
No.
I've been trying to push you guys, move you guys forward for the damn chat. Haven't gotten a single super chat because we're lingering on this damn topic for so long. Trying to push you guys along.
Sorry,
okay?
Cody.
And you know what?
We're hard for games. We're behind the time.
I just want to let you all know in the chat that I'm so sorry. I am so sorry about these two that I'm streaming with today. They are a disappointment to me and you. Please don't leave us, Shelby, though, because
I have no shame.
I need you. I need you. I need you to, Richie. I need you to. Okay, so Diablo Immortal. I've never been a Diablo guy personally, but I understand what it is. And my God, I remember in middle school, I think Diablo 2 came out, and people were just losing their minds, like explosions, all that stuff. And there was an announcement at what is it, BlizzCon, Blizzard's big convention, sort of a celebration of everything Blizzard, and they were basically like, okay, we are doing a new game. It's called the Diablo Immortal. PS, it's going to be exclusively for mobile. And the crowd kind of were like, okay, but you're going to release it on PC, right? And they're like, no plans to release it on PC. And so a lot of a lot of people were getting frustrated, and they're like, well, because the people that are going to this convention are people that, they're hardcore Diablo fans, and they've always played it a certain way, so we're like, they felt alienated, I think is what ultimately ended up happening. So they kept pressing the developers, and the developers started getting really snippy. There's a clip from it.
Don't you have a phone?
Yeah, they're like, don't you have a phone? Like, what's wrong with you guys? You have phones, right? You have phones, right? And it kind of became like a toxic sort of press conference, which I think that they have every right to release a mobile game. I think that maybe that venue wasn't the right place to do it because, mobile, you think more casual, and those were diehard fans. That should have been like a side note to maybe a Diablo 4
it should have been
announcement or something like that.
Its own press conference, totally separate from BlizzCon.
Yeah. So it came off as odd. Real quick here, we do have a super chat. Thank goodness you guys started speeding up because we finally got one. It's from Erroneous Click, $10. Thank you so much. Hurry up. You should be disappointed. So
and we are. And trust us, we are.
Always disappointed. I'm a disappointment.
Yeah. So I have no what's the term? I have no dog in this race.
No horse in this race.
No horse in this race. No pug in this snug. Or no pug in the bug. I can't remember. Something to do with pugs, races, and horses. So I don't really care about Diablo personally, but I would be interested to see your takes. Who would like to jump in? Shelby or Richie? Which one?
I'll let Shelby take a stab.
So I also have no dog in this race either. I've never played Diablo. It's not really my thing. I've played Diablo clones in my day, Torchlight 2 and Path of Exile, which people are basically going like, okay, well, I guess we'll just go play Path of Exile by Blizzard. But I find it's a very interesting move because Activision Blizzard has just kind of been trying to swing for the fences when it comes to making money. Like it's just kind of becoming wanton because like they got hit by the loot box controversy. Like Belgium's trying to ban loot boxes, so they're gonna start making less money off of Overwatch if it becomes a thing. So like they're trying to figure out their next cash grab scheme, and I feel like this is one of them.
Yeah.
It's not hard to know that, like, okay, we've made 3 Diablo games on the PC, and they've done really well. If we make a 4th Diablo on the PC, it'll probably do pretty well. But we're going to make it on mobile because reasons.
Yeah. Speaking of cash grab, check out the description below for a Teespring promo code for H4G merch.
Ugh.
Whoop, whoop.
What a plug.
I thought that would be funny. That is what I said was actually factual and correct, but I decided to insert it at the worst possible point as a joke. So per your point, being kind of like an odd announcement, worst possible time, all that stuff, the wrong audience. I was watching some podcast, I can't remember which one it was, and they were saying that this was really more geared toward the Chinese, Korean market because there's a much stronger, like hardcore gamer on mobile base. So
right, because they already have Diablo clones in China.
Yes. And that's another thing, too, is that they're partnered with NetEase, which basically had already made a number of Diablo clones that now people are accusing Diablo Immortal to be clones of these clones of Diablo, which really at that point, if you're being a clone of a clone, you're basically being yourself, I think. So it's kind of like, is it really being a clone? I don't know. But basically, these clones, at least one of them was like a Chinese game or like an Asian market game. So it seemed like an odd sort of, it was just strange. I don't know. Richie, go ahead. I'm rambling.
For me, the actual concept of the game seems to make an awful lot of sense.
Okay.
Because one of the reasons that I'm not that into Diablo in the first place is it's basically a loot game.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it basically plays like mobile games already. So I feel like putting it on mobile makes an awful lot of sense from a gameplay standpoint. It's obviously possible, and they're good at what they do. It's going to be a fine title, but it's just amazing how hard they blew it.
Yeah.
In terms of the marketing. It's just like they had no preparation at all for Resistance.
Yeah.
Obviously.
No objection training or anything, yeah.
And it just... I think it's probably going to make it more difficult for the game to succeed than it had to, just because they blew it so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they should have presented a couple of things, and then when they went to go to present that, they were like, hey, we have this new Diablo game, and we were originally going to... It's a mobile game, first off, but we were originally going to just release it in the Asian territories because there is a hardcore gamer, mobile audience there. And they want Diablo on mobile, which is why we made it. But then we thought of you guys and we're like, hey, we don't have any plans to bring this to PC, but people in the US may want to play this. They may want to experience it, even though it is a mobile game. So here's what it is, So this is kind of like an extra. It's a bonus. It's an added benefit. We're doing this for you guys, sort of thing, instead of being like, hey, it's a mobile game, screw you.
And then my understanding of it, too, was that they were, using the press conference to announce a new Diablo game. I feel like if they had announced it as, a mobile project, and then revealed that it was Diablo,
yes,
the reception would have been way better.
Yeah. Shelby, what were you going to say?
So didn't Bethesda basically kind of soft announce their next Elder Scrolls game this year, at E3 this year?
I'm not sure.
That I don't know. I'm pretty sure
they soft announced of hey, it's coming, and then they were like, by the way, Skyrim for mobile, or they had some sort of Skyrim game on the phone. That's really how they should have done it. They'd be like, hey, we're working on Diablo 4, but also until then, you guys can play our mobile Diablo Immortal until it's done. That's how it should have been.
Like a little snack.
Right.
Here's your little snack.
Even though they intend to make a ton of money off of it, they still need to understand their base and make it seem like it's less important in their plans.
Richie, you looking like a whole snack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God.
I think we kind of hit the nail on the head. It was all about the presentation of what it was. I don't think it was about the product. It was about the people going in there thinking that they're going to get this juicy steak, and then they got some, Salisbury steak.
And it's also not have done Q&A either. That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And it's also just it's one of those things that puts the crack, when you're dealing with show business as a consumer, you try so hard to not think about the business of it, know. And it's behind the scenes and it's seedy as hell and all that stuff, but you try to think that it's about you deep down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just go and be like, oh yeah, we don't care about anything. Just the monies,
don't
please.
You have phones, children. Go home.
Yeah. It's never meet your heroes, kids.
Yeah, never meet your heroes.
Unless you're going to a Hard for Games meet and greet.
Meet those heroes. Those are real life town heroes.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is a Patreon topic. So, Patreon question, actually. It's from, I think this is pronounced Braun, BR0N. Is there a, quote, Holy Grail collectible item you are still searching for, besides Ura Zelda? Because we're always talking about Ura Zelda, Hard for Games is trying to... We get in blue discs, we test them. Is Ura Zelda on it? So far, no. We found some other stuff, but nothing as crazy as that. So, is there anything that we're looking for? And... understand that, personally, as a show, we're looking for some stuff. Personally, we might have other collectibles and just items that we'd like to have, that kind of thing. But I don't know, do you guys have anything that you're... Anyways, Shelby, is there anything that you're looking at in terms of something you'd like to purchase that has been difficult, or...
No, I don't make a lot of money, and I don't have really cool friends who have access to, cool games all the time, like Steel Battalion.
We're cool, and aren't we your friends? I thought we were your friends.
I think if I ever got my own place with actual money and space, I would love to have like a real DDR machine. 'Cause that's my jam.
Yeah.
Ooh, that ties into my holy grail.
Right. That are some like really good pinball machines. So I started getting into pinball before I left Texas because we had some really good retro arcades around me, and I started understanding how to play pinball, and then it's like opened a new world for me. I'm like, yeah, I want to go play Black Knight 3000. That's awesome. Yeah, let's go do that.
Cool. Yeah. Here's the thing. I heard if you own pinball machines, you have to be prepared to fix them too, because I heard that they require like a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you got steel balls rolling around and like plastic and rubber. So yeah, definitely.
Every night of my life.
Designed to break.
What? Anyways, Richie.
For me, if it's not really something I would do right now because I wouldn't have anywhere to put it, but I do want to get an NBA Jam arcade cab at some point in my life.
Oh yeah, that is so awesome.
It's got to be a 4-player cab, undeniably, but yeah, that's my holy grail right there.
Sorry, I had to adjust the lighting a little bit. It was bothering me how blown out my face was.
Have you ever played Killer Queen?
Shelby's swearing at me right now because I don't have my headphones in.
There's a cab.
So an NBA Jam cab would be.
Yeah.
That would be killer.
You ever make it to?
They're getting more and more expensive, but eventually they'll drop.
On the East Coast, there's a cab they have up in the arcade called Killer Queen. It's an 8-person cabinet where you play like bees. Super good.
Are you getting sound from her?
Yeah.
Can you hear her?
Say something, Shelby. Tony can't hear you.
Hello.
Okay, I think this one died.
Okay.
No.
Whoopsie, they're super cheapo headphones anyway, so it's all good.
So yeah, Killer Queen.
It's an 8-player cab. It's four players per team. It's really really fun.
Okay.
I'll have to look into that.
Now, I mean, I have stuff that's like holy grails, like crazy stuff, and there's actually stuff that's like attainable. Like I'd wanted to get Lucien's Quest for the 3DO, which I played and created, the baseline for a review for. I still need to shoot it. And that's a game that I've wanted for a long time, but it's always been out of my price range. But I found a good deal on it recently, and I picked it up. So that was kind of one of my holy grails that was like, okay, this is like a real thing that you can find. You know what I mean?
So you missed the point of the question entirely then.
Like but if you were to talk like holy grail, there's always been stuff that I've been interested in, like regarding the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom PlayStation. Like Secret of Mana was originally designed as a SNES CD game, and when they moved to cartridge, going from a CD to a 16 megabit cart, they had to wipe over like 60% of the game away, So and Secret of Mana is one of my favorite games. So you got to wonder what it might have been like. So I would love, oh my god, that would be like my ultimate holy grail.
That's what Sony should really release, the SNES PlayStation Classic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, that, like, finding something like that would be beyond incredible. Obviously, for me, any like unreleased game that I can play is like a holy grail. And the thing with Hard for Games is that we have contacts now that send us that stuff. Like, we played Cypher Complex, which was a completely unreleased game. What's so funny?
Oh my god, that game was so unfinished. It was so funny to watch.
Did you edit that one? I can't remember.
Yes, I did edit Cypher Complex.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, but it was cool, though, because it was like, no one's played this. So that was...
Oh, yeah.
There's kind of like unexpected holy grails. So another one here, I'll actually... hold this so I remember which one is the right earbud that actually works.
The right earbud is the left earbud.
So, this was sent to me the other day, and I did a post about it. It was the same individual, same show that sent us the NFL Blitz development card that's behind you right now, Richard.
I saw that on your Facebook.
Our Facebook.
My bad.
It's Hard for Games.
The Facebook.
The Facebook, yes.
So, also sent me this. Don't know what it is. Not sure.
You just have to put it in and find out.
Well, I already dumped it, and I sent the opening splash screen to Push Dustin of Source Gaming. They do a lot of translations for H4Games. Big shout out to them. They're awesome guys. And he basically said, okay, it's this, and then below it says temp title. So the title's not final. And then there's no company logos, there's nothing. It spits you into the game with no intro cutscene, no nothing, as if it was designed to put you already in the middle of the game. So I don't know what it is. And I think I'm going to do an episode where it's like, hey guys, can you help me find out what this is? You know? So it could be a Holy Grail. It's like this stuff comes, like we're just so lucky that people trust us with this kind of stuff and we get to explore it. You know, we get to explore it, and it's not necessarily something I would have actively been like, yeah, that's my Holy Grail, but it just pops up, you know.
It's a little secret gold mine.
Yeah.
It's the world's only Game Boy virus.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to put this away.
I didn't know it was possible to break a Game Boy, but
that's
we're
kind of
here
a
now.
roundabout way to answer your question. But, you know, it is what it is. Game Over Jesse has a question in the comments, and he says, would you rather have the original disc version of Zelda 64 before the story was drastically changed into the cart version of Ocarina of Time? Or would you rather have the Master Quest-esque expansion? I'd probably would rather have a beta version than the expansion. Because I think the version would have been really cool, and it's still something we're actively seeking, but the beta version was so different. Like, the story was different. There's so much that was different. Whereas would be basically the same thing, but a bunch added to it. Like, the core of the beta version was different. You know, you'd still be getting the same core with but, you know, fantasies. So, Richie, this next one's for you. Final Fantasy 15, 3 out of the 4 DLC packs got canceled recently.
Thank goodness.
And I thought you were going to be upset. You're a huge Final Fantasy 15 guy. You played it on PlayStation. You replayed it on PC.
I mean, I like the game. I think there's a lot of interesting things about it. I got it on PC at least half to see if my PC could actually handle it.
So it was more like a test.
Kind of a beast. But...
Did you replay through the whole thing on PC?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
so you played a Final Fantasy game, then you played a Final Fantasy game again. You must have liked it.
I don't know. I played Final Fantasy V way more times than I actually like it.
Richie, why? Why would you do... Like, I'm to the point in my life where it's like, if I started playing a game and it's not good, I'm like, I don't have time.
I don't anymore, really. But yeah, I just feel like the game was already so bloated. It was time for it to die.
Okay.
One of the expansions of the 4 DLCs is the Noctis expansion. He was the main character of the first game. Why does he need an expansion?
So what's left over? What hasn't been canceled? Is it that one, or is it one of the other ones?
The Villains DLC.
Okay.
And he was probably the character that was least explained throughout everything and has the most intrigue left in him.
Okay.
So I feel that's the one they should have put out. But it's just... You gotta let things die at some point, I feel.
Sure.
There needs to be a Final Fantasy 16 someday.
Sure. Okay. So this is actually a good thing. They're cutting the fat.
I think so.
We'd like to also know what you guys in the comments think. If you have any, we have any Final Fantasy 15 fans in the comment section, let us know.
But I'm kind of more curious about what Hajime Tabata is intending to accomplish on his own. Because, like, one of the big reasons that it almost seems like a mutual decision to part ways, like kind of a mixed firing, quitting situation. Resigned. Because they were saying that the studio that he had headed up lost like $33 million last year. Which is very easy thing to do when you don't actually release anything.
I guess so.
But like the studio was kind of like half tied in with doing the Final Fantasy 15 DLC and making new AAA titles. Okay. But I'd be surprised if Tabata can actually like make anything AAA on his own, because like Final Fantasy 15 was the only big hit he had, and he came in midship and corrected the course of everything, and it was very impressive that they managed to get anything out of what had been created, but I
Final
don't
Fantasy...
know that he's going to be able to make what he wants to make outside of Square Enix.
Well, there's always pachinko machines.
There's always pachinko machines.
Yeah. So Final Fantasy 15, if I remember, like very early trailers, like had nothing to do with the game that was released. Is that correct? Like they were like trailers that I remember, like this woman running through this alley and like this and then like it was just. I remember seeing a trailer for like the final game like years in between, and I'm just like, is this Final Fantasy 15? Like, well, I thought this was going to be something totally different.
And even the first time I played the game, like I had played, and I was expecting the game to be like the demo. Yeah. So I kept trying to like design my strategies to fit the demo.
Was it just totally different?
It was totally different.
Wow. Now, I've never played Final Fantasy 15, so I really don't have much to say about this topic. But Shelby, did anything strike you about this? Or
unfortunately, I haven't played Final Fantasy 15 yet. I'm really curious why. I mean, obviously they lost $30 million, but like, what is Square Enix going to do with that newly freed up asset? Like, what were they doing? Like, why couldn't they have finished it?
They said that they are keeping it's called Luminous Studio. It sounded to me like they're keeping it around, but are going to try and focus it towards the new titles and not so much towards the Final Fantasy 15 DLCs. But I have no idea what they're up to. I
don't know. I don't feel like, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 made a pretty good splash, but I think everyone's ready for Kingdom Hearts 3. No one really cares about the DLC. I don't think even if they release it, it'd sell well.
Right.
Yeah, I think, well, didn't they release like 35 Final Fantasy, like, what was the one with Lightning? Or
Final Fantasy 13?
13, yeah.
Yeah, they made like, 13, 2.
Yeah.
Lightning Returns.
Yeah, they're just milking the teat of Final Fantasy. Like they're
and they've been doing the Final Fantasy world as well.
Yeah.
Putting everyone's characters into that. I don't know. I feel like even though there hasn't been DLC of it, I feel like these characters still have been utilized everywhere.
Yeah, it's weird because like they have their main projects and then they have like their side projects and then they have like 1,000 mobile games that are just like weird little RPG like offshoots that they have always kind of. I've never really known what they were. I see ads for them. I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? I don't even know if that's any good. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the saddest of our topics. You want to head this one up?
So this one is it's news to me that they were still open, actually, because our news is that Prima Games, the strategy guide stalwarts that have been doing it since I was a little young lad renting video games at Blockbuster Video, but they're done now. They're closing up shop. They have 3 offices open right now, and the last one's going to shut down in spring of 2019.
Yes.
But I can't remember the last Prima strategy guide that I bought.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Since the internet has existed, I figured they would have gone down a lot sooner, honestly.
Yeah. I'm shocked that it was a viable, like you said, like a viable business model for so long. It is sad to see them go because it's like kind of like a part of your childhood. It's a part of like the gaming experience. Like, I wouldn't often get guides, but like periodically I would. Like I think I had one for like Final Fantasy VIII or something like that. And I don't know if that was Prima. I don't remember. But it's like it was like having this cool like art book like thing. And then even after the game was done, you could kind of go through it for memories and look at the art and this and that. And I don't know. It was just kind of a neat thing to have. But nobody cares. It's like the ship has sailed. It's sad, but it's it's like mourning Blockbuster. You know what I mean? I don't know. Shelby, thoughts?
I mean, it's the way things are kind of going. Everyone has cell phones, everyone has the internet. Like there's no point of having a strategy guide, and if you really want that art part, you go buy the art book, which you probably would get way more of that feeling out of. Yeah,
exactly. I think that a lot of the a lot of games, like you said, have art books. A lot of them have you could do like pre-order special editions,
right? The million special editions.
Yeah, but a lot of them have that kind of content in it. So if that's your thing, if you love the game that much, or you know, like a particular game in a series, you're going to spend that money anyways, but it's not going to be a strategy guide just out of lack of necessity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I do like seeing that the art books are coming out more for some of these games to kind of fill that void. So
Yeah.
I think that softens the blow a little bit, because having games releasing their soundtracks and releasing their art books, that was kind of something that a lot of times was done kind of as a side bonus for getting the strategy guide. You know, they'd toss in a CD or a few pages of art in the book or something. But yeah,
And
I'm Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't really have anything to say.
The only reason they probably stayed in business up until now is that, like, you have brick and mortar shops like comic book shops and Barnes and Nobles just buying stock because they can, and then eventually they just lose people until they can't keep up anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think here's where I thought you were going to go with this, but you actually went in a different direction, which was also very valid. But I don't know if they were partnered with GameStop, but you know, for a while, GameStop would shift through different things that they'd want to add on with their upsells. And last couple times I've been in GameStop, actually the last couple of years that I've been in GameStop, they haven't been upselling me, which is really nice. But remember, it used to be like, do you want a Game Informer? Do you want a Game Informer? You gotta subscribe. You gotta subscribe. You gotta subscribe. You got to. You're like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to leave the store without subscribing? Because my life depends on this. Like, you signing up, because GameStop's such a terrible company.
You won't know. You won't know what games are coming out.
GameStop's gonna cut me if I don't get my my numbers up. But and then they switched over to like strategy guides, because they're like, well, maybe that would be more of like an applicable thing. If someone's buying a game, you might want the strategy guide instead of just a generalized subscription to a magazine.
That's such a retail way to respond to pressure.
That was I mean, it is.
Let's just jump on another sinking ship.
Yeah, well, probably at the time this wasn't as much of a sinking ship, but that practice probably continued through the point that it started becoming a sinking ship. But those sort of orders from GameStop and similar retail companies that were like, all right, well, if I sell the game, I can probably, if I sell 20 games, I'll probably be able to sell 3 strategy guides or 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I sell 40, I'll be able to sell, whatever. So they would keep them probably in business enough. So guys, any last words before the end of time?
I got nothing.
Got nothing.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad I hold Tony's marriages in the palm of my tiny hands. They look normal, but they're very tiny.
All right, so how about that extension of watch time on YouTube? I hope everybody enjoyed. Now, Shelby, any last words aside from your hands?
Thank you for having me. Please follow me on Twitter. I'm funny most times, and you can check out my Twitch if you want to be entertained from time to time.
Awesome.
What handle should we look for?
Roocrow, Roocrow. Nobody else like me. It's just me.
We should get a little thing that says Roocrow for when you stream with us. But I do have her Twitch channel in the link in the description below. So if you also want to check out the Twitter, all you have to do is type in Roocrow, the same thing you can find in the description, but on Twitter. Don't be lazy, just do it. Hey guys, poo easy, and we'll see y'all next time.